Hey, how you guys doing? Jim and I are back with the Cleveland Lead series. We've done a few, and we're going to continue doing these. We talked a little bit about the laws and stuff, but I think today we're going to try to explain to you a little bit more. How lead actually gets into your body. I mean, it does cause heart damages to your heart and your kidneys. It could damage your nervous system, your reproductive, female and male, bone tissues, and so we're going to talk a little bit about today on dust and what we can do, Jim.
Yeah, and in terms of the adults being poisoned, many of the things that Marko mentioned, that's what's happened to adults. But we're talking about the kids, and there's certainly been a lot of things written about how that delays development in young children. And so we're going to talk about how do actually children get poisoned, okay? And a lot of people, I talk to them, and they say, oh, well, when I was a kid, I ate lead, and I'm all okay and everything. Well, the thing is that the children, to a large extent, don't chew or eat lead. The primary problem is that they ingest the dust, okay? And so the question is, where does the dust come from? Where does this lead dust come from? It comes from a couple areas. Predominantly in the house, it comes from older windows, it comes from older front porches, and it comes from the scraping of surfaces. You could see behind us, if you went and scraped that surface, you'd get a ton of lead dust formed.
And when you scrape it, that's all you're allowed to do. You can't really burn it. If you burn it, you're going to poison yourself it's going to aerosolize. And you can't blast it with sand or water because now you're going to break that up all over the place. And Jim, isn't that how sometimes people can get lead from people from opening a window and blasting a house? Your neighbor could be cleaning the house with the water pressure.
Yeah, if you use a water sprayer on your house to clean your house and it's a lead house, you're going to be spreading those paint chips and then eventually have paint dust all over the neighborhood. And imagine you're in a house that's that's got a very narrow driveway, and you're right next to the house that's got all this peeling paint. Neighbor comes out and sprays it with the water. All these paint chips come onto your drive. Your child takes his little trike and runs up and down the driveway with his trike, crushing all these pieces of lead, getting onto his trike. He's playing with his trike. He gets off it, touches it, and then he ingests it, and then he gets lead poison.
So, Jimmy, when's the last time you saw children's toys in an old lead house in the dishwasher being cleaned?
That's a hard one, Marko. I can't remember.
Not a lot. People, don't kids put their toys in their mouth and the toys get dirty? If the toys are next to a windowsill, right? So I would say you want to clean your kids' toys, right? You want to clean your window wells.
Yes, and and it's one of the things that's very important is that Marko's phone. One of the things that are very important is that people keep things clean. Okay, when people are coming inside a house, a simple thing to do is to take off your shoes, okay, so you don't track in the lead dust. And this brings us to another point, area where kids get poisoned is front porches, okay. Many of the older porches in Cleveland have lead paint on them, and people have painted them over the years. Then people say, hey, I'm gonna take care of this. I'm gonna sand the paint on my front porch. That's a very, very bad thing to do. I've heard many stories where people have gotten poisoned because they sanded their front porch.
Or how about the guy who scraped the front porch that you hired to paint, and he says, excuse me, can I use your bathroom? You know what? No, you can't. You can't, because you're going to come in with all that dirty clothes and those dirty shoes, go behind the garage. You got to be careful if you bring lead into the house. Pets can bring it in too, so you don't want to have exposed dirt around the house, because exposed dirt, especially in old homes, is full of lead, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think? Well, the best thing for somebody to do is buy a HEPA vacuum cleaner. Yeah, right. So when you vacuum your house, you don't pollute your house.
These are vacuums with special filters, and they've become really not that costly anymore. And they have a special filter that won't let lead get into your house. A normal vacuum cleaner, you suck up the lead and it's just going to go right into the house, and you don't want to have that.
And if you got a cleaning crew, that cleans your house, you better make them use your vacuum cleaner. I've done a lot of homes where kids get poisoned and we can't figure out what's going on, and here the cleaning Wednesday and Friday crew comes with their dirty vacuum cleaners from other homes, and you're breathing their dust. So, you want your own vacuum cleaner, you want your own filters, you want to keep a nice, tidy, clean house, right, Jim?
Yeah, and I think we talked about the legislation that the city's proposing, and one of the things they should promote is teaching people how to clean and how to live in their houses. This is elementary. If they're able to convey this to people, maybe people that rent from CMHA are required to take a live course, understanding lead in the house. Maybe the people that are buying homes in the city of Cleveland should take a course on what to do with lead in their house. So
maybe some of that money, that $2 million we talked about, maybe they could use some of that for teaching people.
Exactly.
I mean, you would do so much better solving this lead problem by teaching everybody, not just if you watched our other shows, the video where we talked about just this law is only going to be for landlords who don't have family living. We're talking about the whole city right here. Cleaning, right? Cleaning your house.
Okay, so you clean the house. That's the number one. How do you deal with lead in the house? Well, you just replace all the things that have lead. Now, what are the things that need to be replaced? It's usually just the siding. Well, the siding, you cover the siding. You replace your windows. Those are the ones that generate the most lead dust on a continual basis. And then finally, you just cover it. Okay.
Cover it.
Yeah, you just cover it. You could put up vinyl siding, use proper precautions. But again, these last two things we talked about are fairly costly. Okay, at $500 a window, $400 a window, that's pretty costly. You got 20 windows. That's around $10,000 to get rid of the lead
or more. I mean, if you want to buy expensive windows, you could spend $20,000-$30,000. Now, if you can't afford to buy windows, you know what? You could still live with it and not be poisoning your children. Just clean it, like we said. Use clean your troughs, clean your sills.
Clean it with trisodium phosphate.
Yeah, or some type of phosphate
automatic right? Dishwashing solution.
Yep, that works. And you know what? How you know it's clean? Go get yourself some baby wipes. Wipe the window down. If there's any dust on it, guess what? Your kid's getting poisoned too, right? So the baby wipes are a nice, easy way. Unless you want to pay us to show up and do your test for you, we can do that too. We do clearance testing, but you could clean your window and check it yourself. I mean, why not? If it's clean, it's clean, correct?
Exactly. Okay. Well, so hopefully we've covered the basics in terms of how children get poisoned. They get poisoned by the dust, and we've talked about ways. The primary way to get rid of it, again, is clean it. A secondary way is to replace anything that has lead paint on it, and thirdly, to cover up those areas that are creating lead dust. Now, before I shut this segment off, I do want to say that when you're inside of a house and you have paint on your wood in your house, it very well could contain lead. As long as it's not peeling, it's not an issue, okay? The issue is with the peeling paint. And that's what you have to deal with, the peeling paint and the dust it creates.
So, hey, we're going to come back with this Cleveland Lead series. We're going to talk about what to inspect when the city comes calling. Okay, what to inspect when the city comes calling is going to be the next segment. And so, hey, rate, subscribe, hit the bell button so we get all our future videos. You guys have a nice day, and thanks for coming on. And by the way, if you have any questions, just put them down into the bottom comment section, and we'll try to address them. You guys have a nice weekend.
Okay, thanks.